The American Families Plan has been announced. It came out last week. It's the latest in a series of quote-unquote stimulus plans. I'm going to call it just a sort of concerted effort on an economic boost. But this one is directed towards you specifically, comes with a big price tag, lots of new benefits. I got details right here. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, so follow me here. We've had a bunch of stimulus last year in response to the pandemic, and then we had a stimulus again through the transition from President Trump to President Biden. But then over the past few months, we've had a barrage of stimulus proposals, one passed, and it's sort of, the last three are sort of connected into an overarching economic plan, okay? The first one was the stimulus plan that was passed and signed into law into March. It was the $1,400 direct stimulus payment, some expansion to child tax credits, and a whole host of things. It came with a $1.9 trillion price tag. It's called the American Rescue Plan Act, and it's hard for me to even say that. Just doesn't quite roll off the tongue, okay? So that's already passed, okay? The second plan, the second stimulus plan, people are referring to as the infrastructure plan, and I'm not even sure what the official title to that one was. $2.3 trillion, so this one that's enormous, and right now it's going through negotiations, and it's not going so well because of some of the tax increases that are connected with that. And even some Democrats are saying there needs to be some tax cuts within this thing. And so who knows if that thing's going to get passed in the way it was initially proposed. But while that second one is still sort of in the negotiation phase, the White House announced last week the American Families Plan, which is apparently the third of these three stimulus plans, but this one, $1.8 trillion, and is less of stimulus, so there's no direct payment part of it, but it's more sort of providing some baseline benefits for families moving forward, and sort of addresses a lot of the big key issues that politicians have been grappling with over the past 5-10 years, and certainly during the coronavirus recession. So big changes, not passed yet, but let me tell you what's in this proposal. The first, we know there is a student loan debt crisis, and in the second stimulus plan, in the first, the American Rescue Plan Act, the administration basically paved the way to make some changes with college and forgiveness of student loans and all that sort of stuff. Well, the American Families Plan doesn't provide forgiveness of student loans, not that I can see, but it is stating there will be 2 years of free community college, basically for qualifying individuals, and they're including, dreamers, they're including people that are currently in a job and trying to learn a new skill. So 2 years, up to 2 years of free community college, and they expand it for those trying to learn a new skill and so on. So it'll be interesting to see if this thing gets passed, how it's rolled out. How do you define community college? Is there a cap on how much it will cover? Is room and board covered, or is it just tuition? It'll be interesting, and then it will be interesting how this would connect to the American Opportunity Tax Credit, which provides, not a full free college, but lots of tax credit. I mean, basically $2,500 of tax credit on the first $4,000 of tuition. So I wonder if there'd be a change in that. But with that speculation, what I can tell you is within this new plan, the American Families Plan, 2 years of free community college for those that qualify, and it looks like that most people would qualify. Second, it expands or tries to make permanent the expanded child tax credit that's passed into law from the American Rescue Plan Act. Guys, this is so hard to keep track of, but all right. So in the first stimulus plan under President Biden, the American Rescue Plan Act, it took the child tax credit from $2,000 per person age 16 and below, and it made it $3,000 as a tax credit for a child age 17 to age 6, and it took it from, took it up to $3,600 for children below age 6. Now there's an income cap in order to be eligible for that. If your income is above certain thresholds, then it actually gets reduced. Instead of $3,000, it scales back down to $2,000. Instead of $3,600, it scales back down to $2,000. And then if you're over around $400,000 in income, then that goes away completely. So it would scale that back, but in that original, in the original stimulus, the American Rescue Plan Act signed in March, that this benefit, and it made it fully refundable, by the way, this tax credit made it fully refundable. But they only passed it, it was only approved for this year only, 2021. Well, in the American Families Plan, not only would those these tax credits be reinforced, but it would carry them through 2025, and so it would make this more of a permanent feature, and then hopefully it would be extended and extended beyond that, as opposed to stopping in year 2025. The third big component of the American Families Plan is designed to help and provide a benefit to those that have young kids. So not just expanding that child tax credit like I talked about, but actually providing benefit for child care and for preschool, okay? So I'm not gonna get into all the details here, but within the plan, it provides a cap for low and middle income. I think is how they define it, up to I think $125,000 or $150,000. If your income is below those thresholds, then you would basically get a cap on how much you would have to pay for preschool and child care expenses. All right, so for child care, it would cap it at 7% of your income. Now, I'm not going to break that down for you here, but the reports are that that could be a benefit to families of up to $14,000 a year. How would they do that? Well, the government would be working with qualifying or eligible preschool, or excuse me, child care organizations, and basically providing them funding to subsidize charging individuals that meet this eligibility a lower cost. To me, while that would be a meaningful benefit and a helpful benefit for some, to me, it's been surprising to look at cost trends and see that child care trends, I mean, the rate of increase for child care expenses has just about kept up with the rate of increase of college cost. And so now adding more, so obviously that you would look at that and say, wow, this need is significant, very, very much needed. But adding more government subsidies, I'm assuming, will mean that price will continue to rise for everyone, and those who can meet the subsidy then would have some government benefit from that. So, and then preschool as well. They're trying to level the playing field here with preschool and providing funding to these preschools to get high quality preschool education, I think is what's listed in here, which they don't define. But then second, it would provide for covering the cost for, I believe they said 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. Now, okay, not all 5-year-olds go directly into kindergarten, so I wonder if there's a gap there. But there'd be some benefit to cover preschool costs for those 3- and 4-year-olds as well. And then the final big component that I will touch on here in the American Families Plan, you can tell each of these components, at least it lives up to its billing. It is directed at families, right? And so that's a big deal, and you'll be shocked by this one. There is, within the plan, it would provide for a significant amount of paid leave for a variety of reasons, okay? The plan starts small, where it would originally, provide in its first year, I believe, just, an extra 3 days for those bereaving. I'm not sure how they define, bereavement for, is it an immediate family member? Does it expand? Is it, I'm not sure, but it starts small, but then eventually it's expanded under this proposal to allow for up to 12 weeks of paid paternity and several other kind of paid leave, okay, for up to 12 weeks. There'd be a cap at $4,000 a month, and basically it would be 2/3 of your income with a cap of $4,000 a month, unless your income's below a certain amount, and in that case, it'd be 80% of your income with a cap at $4,000 a month. That's pretty significant. How would they pull this off? How would they do this? I'm not sure. I don't know if it would be similar to the unemployment system where you go off your company's payroll and you go on the government's payroll. I'm not sure. Or if your company continues to pay and the company then receives some benefit from the government. I'm not sure. I mean, to me, this would be a significant infrastructure just to pull this one off, plus all the details of, okay, when would someone qualify, when would someone not qualify, but it would provide a significant amount of paid leave, 12 weeks, and even provide some additional sort of paid vacation or paid leave in addition to this 12 weeks. So that would be a significant change, huge change to you business owners out there as well. We'd be awaiting details. Okay, so finally, you're probably thinking, how are we going to pay for all of this? I did a video last week about one of the rumors. Well, those rumors are out. How to pay for this $1.8 trillion plan is there's some significant tax increases, including one surprise that wasn't on my radar screen. So significant tax increases embedded into this plan. Let's break those down. Number one, they are confirming that they'd be moving the highest tax bracket from 36% to 39.6%. Okay, so those are for individuals earning over $550,000 or $630-some thousand in that range. Okay, for single or married filing jointly. So the highest tax bracket would be moved up to help cover this cost. Second, this was the big concern that I had, and that is more than doubling, significantly increasing the long-term capital gains rate. That applies to long-term capital gains and that applies to dividends. Now, once again, this rate would go from about 20% plus the 3%, 3.4% additional income tax, okay, so 23.4% right now for long-term capital gains. It would move it to 43.4%, okay, for those individuals that have income of $1 million or more in that year. And you might say, well, they can afford it, but once again, as I pointed out in a different video, I mean, that could be just someone selling a farm, someone selling a business, someone selling, and yes, that is a lot of money, but it would apply to more people than I think you might initially believe. And additionally, to me, it's an increased tax on investment. So it's sort of a penalty on investment or good investments, which I think could be problematic. And then the third tax increase that I wasn't expecting is within this plan, they'd be getting rid of the step up in cost basis at death. Getting rid of the step up in cost basis at death. I'm going to do a completely different video, a video just devoted on this proposal, this tax proposal. But right now, if you have capital gain, so if you bought Apple stock in the 90s and you've got all this appreciation and then you die, if that appreciation, basically when your heirs inherit that investment, that capital gain, that cost basis goes all the way up to the value at the date of death. They're inheriting that tax-free, okay? And what this would do is that you would get a $1 million, everyone would get a $1 million exemption on their capital gain, but then anything above that would be taxed as long-term capital gain, okay? What about your house? They would allow for the $500,000 exemption, up to a $500,000 of exemption. If you have an increase in your house, your housing value more than that $500,000, that would be taxable as well. So shocking, maybe others saw this coming, I did not, but within this proposal, they'd be getting rid of the step up in cost basis. Okay, so those are the details. What do you do with this? Nothing as of yet, okay? As more details are revealed, we'll talk about them here, and like I said, we'll talk about that removing the step up in cost basis. But as of right now, that second stimulus plan is still in negotiation and looks as though it's having more trouble getting past the way it was originally unveiled. And so now I would tell you this third one is really just rumor. We've got some details. We've got at least some of the picture in place of what they're going to try and achieve, but I wouldn't go out and make any changes just yet. Work with your certified financial planner, talk about these potential changes, but here we are, it's May. right? So we've got lots of time before you, like within this calendar year, for you to make some changes depending on where this thing goes in negotiation, if it actually gets traction and starts progressing towards becoming law. So work with your certified financial planner on the details, but I would tell you don't make any drastic big changes just yet. Just be in tune with your CFP and start considering what your options or actions need to be. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or just send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.